So thank you all again for joining tonight. My name is Billy Parent, and I'm moderator for tonight's meeting. We very much appreciate you joining us. Tonight's meeting is to share information and receive feedback on the MBTA's Winchester Center Station Accessibility Improvement Project. Nathan Ray, MBTA Senior Project Manager, will give the presentation. We also ask that you please hold all comments until the end of the presentation. We have a planned question and answer session at the end, and we plan for the meeting to go as late as 8 p.m. this evening. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few of the meeting controls for folks who are not familiar with Zoom. So thank you again for joining. And just as a reminder to everyone, this meeting is being recorded so they can be posted online for people who are unable to join. And the next slide, please. So diversity and civil rights, all MBTA activities, including public meetings, are free of discrimination. The MBTA complies with all federal and state civil rights requirements, preventing discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, limited English proficiency, and additional protected characteristics. We welcome the diversity from across our entire service area. If you have any questions or concerns, please visit www.mbta.com/Title IX to reach the Office of Diversity and Civil Rights. Thank you. And next slide, please. So closed captioning is available for tonight's meeting. Please click the CC button at the bottom of your screen. You are able to then click and drag the captions to better see the presentation. In addition, we have ASL interpreters, Catherine and Eliza. So if you'd like to view ASL interpreters at all times, you can keep your view settings in gallery mode, which should be the default setting. And they are both pinned throughout the duration of the presentation. And next slide, please. So for technical questions, please use the chat feature. Our technical assistant is labeled Winchester Station Project Team. That's me, so I'll help with any troubleshooting technical issues that come up. And next slide, please. And with that, I will pass it off to Nathan Ray to walk us through the presentation.
Thanks, Will. Good evening, everybody. Tonight, we're going to be giving you an update on Winchester Center. We're going to look at what we're doing at Winchester with a brief project overview. We'll look at recent construction activity at the project. We're going to look at the schedule, as well as some upcoming construction activities and project context. Next slide. Well, project overview, what are we doing on this project? Well, this is a full station reconstruction. 2 new fully accessible high-level side platforms with canopies, 3 new elevators, 2 new ramps, and 3 sets of covered stairs. There will be new lighting, signage, and wayfinding, security cameras, and other amenities. New tracks, ties, ballasts, bridge plates, and communication duct banks at track level, with a total construction cost of $50 million. This rendering here on the right, that rendering and the photo shows the Aberjona lot side of the head house with a photo of that area taken just in the last few weeks. Next slide, please. Well, some recent construction activity from this spring. The photo on the left there shows installation of the stairs at the Laraway Road near the corner of Waterfield Road. That happened just this week. The middle photo shows the Waterfield lot side of the head house. There's stairs and elevator there with the canopies for the platforms above. And the last photo shows installation of the ramp pieces, the ramp at the Aberjona end of the station. Next slide, please. This photo on the left is up at platform level. It shows the platform and the stairs at the Aberjona side of the head house. You'll see the platforms in place and the structure for the canopy is there. You're able to take the elevator up to this level. The middle photo shows a view of the station along Laraway Road. There's a ramp and the canopy structure above you see there. The last photo shows guardrail installation at the Aberjona side of the head house. These guardrails are at the platform level. Next slide. There has been some unanticipated schedule impacts on the project. Essentially, what has happened is that we lost the ability in the railroad world, we call it single tracking. We lost the ability to single track through the project site. As many people know, the tracks remain active. We're still building the station around live tracks. So we have to work in that situation, and we have been for the past few years. But in March, we lost our single tracking and we had to go to what we call foul time. So I'll explain what that means. Single tracking is where trains are running on the same track instead of on both tracks through Winchester. Single track access provides freer access to the work site more than foul time does. So foul time is where both tracks are live and workers must clear the tracks each time a train passes by. So working under foul time is less productive than working under single track access. So we lost our ability to single track in March. In addition, there were other projects that fundamentally cost us this impact as well. I don't know if folks may be aware, there's the ATC PTC program, fiber optic installation along the railway lines, as well as the North Side commuter rail maintenance work. This was maintenance for rails and ties. In addition to this, we started to see increased demand of resources that were constrained by system-wide demand. This was due to projects such as the Track Improvement Program, GLX, and South Coast Rail, and other projects like it. Next slide. So that being said, Winchester Station is now scheduled to partially reopen by September 30th of this year from the original partial opening date of July. Partial reopening in September includes a partial platform reopening on the south half of the station. I'll show you what I mean in a moment. This would be the inbound and outbound platforms in the with one elevator for each platform. This would also include the return of the parking that the project is using during construction to build the station and gain access to build the station in the Aberjona and Waterfield lots. And this would also include completion of work on Waterfield Road. So this is by end of September of this year. Substantial completion, or what we could call full station reopening, is scheduled for December of this year, moved from the original date of November. And there will be what we call punch list work, some miscellaneous activities going on site, including landscaping and other things, which are scheduled for 2025. This work, however, is not anticipated to significantly impact the town or parking. Go to the next slide, please. Well, as soon as we were informed of this schedule delay by our operations, that our access was changing, we took steps to resolve the problem. In late March, we altered the train schedule. Some of you may have noticed, in order to improve access, but we found out that this was not sufficient. In April, we coordinated the rescheduling of the fiber optic project, as well as the north side maintenance work and the rail and tie work. And that got us back our original access of the single tracking. And as we needed to make up for the lost time, also we added crews and work shifts. Some of you may have noticed an increased presence in weekends, as well as extended normal hours throughout the week. Next slide. So about the opening, the partial opening that I explained, this slide, in the part that's in blue, will include, it represents the partial station opening, which is scheduled to open by the end of September now. So that includes both platforms in blue there, as well as the parking areas of the Waterfield Aberjona lots, and then other work along Waterfield Road will be complete as well. The portion in red will be the full station opening, the part along Laraway Road, across from the Common, and down to the Quill Rotary there. So that will be in December of this year. In terms of the parking situation, we understand that parking has been at a premium in the town. From now to September, parking does remain unchanged. We will be giving that back by the end of September. After September, like I said, the Waterfield and Aberjona lots will be, those temporary easements will be handed over back to the town. And as of December, Laraway Road will be reopened once we have full station opening. Next slide. So upcoming construction and what you can expect in the coming months. Well, there will be continued steel and electrical, concrete, and plumbing work. We will be focusing our efforts to get to the partial opening. This is at the south end of the station, at both the east and west head houses. The Aberjona ramp and the mid stair on Laraway Road will be our focus in the next few months. So you'll see the elevators continuing to progress, staircase construction at the north end will continue also. We will be working across the project site. Neighbors can expect continued noise from construction activity, including heavy equipment and machinery. We do anticipate some isolated incidences of night work where it's better to perform certain activities at night. We do intend to limit night work as much as possible. We will send out construction advisories ahead of time for any of that work. Next slide. So this slide basically shows in more detail certain areas of the station and more detailed construction activities that we'll be having at each of those locations. At platform level, we'll be installing platform panels, canopy steel, lighting, communications, everything that goes into making an MBTA commuter rail station. In addition, from now to end of summer, you'll see a lot of work happening in the Aberjona and Waterfield sections. We call this the head house area. That'll be progressing. And then to the end of December, you see the behind Thompson Street, there's activities there in that alleyway, Quill Rotary, and then the Laraway Road sections. Next slide, please. So we have been receiving emails to the project, and more than happy to answer them. This is the email address. This is the phone number to call, as well as the website. And so we look forward to having any questions that you might have.
Thanks, Nathan. Okay, so I'll go over the question and answer functions. So before we start, we would like to first give the opportunity to elected or appointed officials who are in the audience who would like to make remarks. And to make a comment, you virtually can raise your hand, or you can press Alt-Y, click the raise hand button under the participants tab at the bottom center of your screen. On a mobile device, you can also tap raise hand or dial *9. Okay, and I see Deborah Johnson, so I'm going to ask you to unmute. Just a moment. Thanks, Deborah. The floor is yours.
Hi, I'm on the Disability Access Commission for Winchester, and so my question pertains to that. I see on the west side that you're going to be opening at the September date elevator, one of the elevators, but it's my understanding you will not have the ramp ready then, so there won't be a secondary means of egress for anyone with a disability.
That's correct. Yeah, on the west side, there will be just the elevator. So we are working to identify an area of rescue assistance, Deborah. And so we're working with the Winchester Fire Department to make sure that we comply with all relevant codes. In the event of emergency, those with accessibility requirements can still be exited out of the station.
Can I ask, is there, I'm assuming that there's a typical emergency phone in the elevator, but if there's like a power outage or some kind of just, something with the elevator not able to come up to that level, is there any kind of emergency phone outside of the elevator? Do you know what I'm saying? Like say that the elevator's stuck in the down position, you're up on the platform, you won't be able to access the emergency number, inside the elevator to call, if you just arrived and you can't get down. I'm just curious if there's any kind of outside emergency device
Yes.
or anything.
Yes, we usually have these call boxes at our stations. I don't know if anybody else from the team wants to weigh in on that. We usually have the call boxes for such situations like that.
Nathan, I can weigh on this. This is Mark Thompson.
Thanks, Mark.
On the elevator itself, there's a button you control, and that alert goes to MBTA OCC to identify if the elevator is working or not. It can also be tied into the Winchester police station in both places. And that's right at the platform level, next on the elevator panel itself.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Okay, great. So just to go over the Q&A functions one more time. So you must virtually raise your hand by clicking the raise hand button under the participants tab. You can also add questions in the chat, and I can read them out loud, and we'll answer questions that are placed in the chat. Once you raise your hand or place a question in the chat, you'll be added to a queue with others who have their hands raised, and I will call on people first come, first served. When it's your turn to speak, I will say your name or the last 4 digits of your phone number and let you know that I'm unmuting you. Once you are unmuted, everyone in the meeting can hear you. And before making your comment, if you could please state your name and any organizational affiliation. And we ask that you please limit all comments to no more than 2 minutes, just so that we can ensure everyone has a chance to speak. And good evening. I see that the Representative Day has joined. Thank you so much for joining. We were just starting the Q&A. So Representative, if you'd like an opportunity to speak or comment, please just raise your hand and I'll gladly unmute you. Okay, seeing no questions or hands raised at the moment. I'll give it another moment. Oh. Okay. Christopher Sylvia. So Christopher, you are unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, first of all, I want to thank you and everybody, from the planning to the labor on the project. I am from Woburn, and Winchester Center is the primary means that we access the commuter rail from Woburn Center. I just wanted to ask if what the plans were for integrating the 134 bus to the commuter rail are. definitely interested in from the schedule perspective, but also from the physical construction perspective, if there's any particular zone for the bus to alight and transfer. You know, Woburn hasn't had access to the commuter rail since 1982 when it was abandoned. So I'm just wondering what the plan is for that.
Nathan, I can take over that question. I'm sorry, let me put my video. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me introduce myself. My name is Maribel Kelly. I'm the Deputy Chief of Capital Delivery for Commuter Rail Projects. So I oversee all the construction projects on the commuter rail that you have seen. So thank you, Christopher, for your question. Since we just delivered construction project, we don't have an answer for that, but we can take your question and coordinate with the operation people and the bus if there's any plan. I know there's a lot of work that the MBTA is doing and planning and reviewing bus routes. So we will, we can get back to you and give you that answer. Thank you.
Thanks for your question. Okay, and Joyce Gordillo, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. I apologize if I did not. I will ask you to unmute. And Joyce, please go ahead.
Hi, no worries. I was just wondering, I noticed that you guys mentioned that there's going to be 2 elevators in operation for September. Is that the total amount of elevators that will be open by September, or will you have additional ones, like redundant elevators?
Yeah, in September, there will be 2 elevators open. For the full station opening, a 3rd elevator will be open. It will be on the outbound side over by the Quill Rotary. So we added an elevator there to capture anyone with accessibility requirements who want to access the station or leave the station at the north end. So on the outbound side, there's 2 elevators and a ramp. There's that like you say, redundant elevator. On the inbound side, the Laraway Road side, there's a ramp and 1 elevator. So for September, there will just be the 1 elevator on each side, and then the Aberjona ramp on the outbound. For full station opening, the ramp on the inbound and elevator on the outbound will be added. Hope that wasn't confusing.
Thank you for your question. Thank you, Nathan. So I see a question from the chat next. And this question is from Eamon. So he said that, so Eamon says, I've noticed that trains blow their horns at Winchester Station. Will they continue doing so after the partial station opening until the station is fully open?
That is correct. That's a safety measurement that is regulated by FRA, the Federal Railroad Authority. And because there's a constructions on there, the trains will have to put the person out blowing the horn.
Thank you, Maribel, and thank you, Eamon, for your question. Amy says, thank you for all of your work. Thank you very much, Amy.
So I just want to put a statement here. I know, as Nathan explained, we lost track access. There's a lot of ongoing project now. The project that he mentioned, the ATC, and it's a fair mandate project we need to finish, and we need to finish this year, and was impacted for different reasons, such the summer tunnel pushed their schedule to that. Therefore, there was a ripple effect in other projects that affect our access. I just want to say that we've been in close coordination with the rail operation and the GM, and we have made sure that Winchester is now one, after ATC, is one of the priorities. Even even with, we accomplished to push a little bit the schedule of maintenance work for reoperation on the north side, which also is very important. There's been a lot of deferred maintenance because they were waiting for us to finish the job. So they came to a point that they need to address our maintenance work on the north side. Otherwise, we can have the risk of have operation impact and have to put a speed restriction. So just want to tell the public that, you know, we are very committed to open this station in September. Our project is, everybody's well aware that it's a priority, and, you know, unless something catastrophic happen, you know, we're working, our team, as you have noticed, there's more presence, more crews. My team is constantly in the project following the schedule. So hopefully, guys, we're not causing that much of impact in your life, and I'm looking forward to open that station.
Thank you, Mary Bell. So one question in the chat from Christopher, and that question is, what bike parking will be available for the partial reopening on September 30th?
Yes, the bike storage area will be open for September 30th. That is on the inbound side. Underneath the stairs, there's a bike storage lockup area, and we anticipate that being open and ready for September 30th. Just a note about Christopher's last question about, there was a bus stop, bus 134 stopped on Laraway Road prior to construction. Last that we spoke with operations, you know, we had to reroute that bus route because we were working on Laraway Road. And so the idea was to return bus service to that same stop at Laraway Road, right by the Quill Rotary. So that's the that was the expectation, that that bus stop would return the 134 route.
Thanks, Nathan. And thank you for your question, Chris. We have an additional question in the chat, and that's from Jay Houlihan. And Jay asks, are there plans for a community bulletin board on the overpass at the Rotary?
We don't have plans for a community bulletin board. I'm not sure exactly what that means, Jay. But we work with the town to, if they want to attach something to our infrastructure, there's a process for that, but that's not in the scope that we're doing right now.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Jay. We're in another few moments. If there are additional questions, certainly happy to answer, facilitate that. Okay, seeing no additional questions, we'll prepare to end the meeting. Thank you all so much for joining. If you could, please go back one slide to the project contact information, just to end on that slide and give people an opportunity to see the email, and thank you very much. So to be in touch, you can email us at winchesterstation@mbta.com. And we also have a phone number, construction hotline, 781-218-9717. And this presentation will be available online on the project website, along with project updates in the very near future. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the kind words. Thank you, Representative Day, for joining. And with that, we will end the meeting. Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks so
Thank you,
much.
everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.